Yeah, welcome to another edition of the MC65 podcast. Today I'm joined by David Lorenzo Lopez, a technology leader, community contributor, mentor, and passionate advocate for intelligent automation. Since 2010, David has helped organizations transforming business challenges into practical solutions, spanning enterprising, development, cloud technologies, and recently AI-powered ways of working. Over the last years, his focus has shifted heavily toward intelligent automation, Copilot Studio, Microsoft Foundry, Azure, and building AI systems that deliver measurable business outcomes. Behind his professional work, David is well known as community speaker who regularly shares knowledge across the globe and helps us mentor um, the generation of technology prophets. In this episode, we are diving deep into one of the hottest topic in AI right now, creating and orchestrating multi-agent systems using Copilot Studio, Microsoft Foundry, and Microsoft Agent framework. David, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Michael. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Really looking forward to our talk today.
Yeah, thank you. Um, uh, can you us tell a little bit about your background and how you join the technology or the Microsoft ecosystem?
Yeah, of course. So I started back in 2008, let's say, my programming journey. I started in doing personal projects after my high school studies. And in parallel, I take up the computer science studies in the university. So then I started programming in PHP back in the days, making WordPress sites and personal projects, personal websites. Like usually back in the days was one of the most common languages to learn programming in the web side. And then in 2010, I started working in companies, and in my first company, they were programming in .NET. It was a desktop application, but I like C Sharp. I like all the SQL Server stuff, and then from there, I started my journey inside the Microsoft ecosystem. So my background in the first days was all about web development. Even Azure didn't exist back in the day, so we used to publish in Internet Information Server, and also using ASP.NET and the web forms. Even I did some projects in the old web forms. Yeah,
And now you are deep in the AI part.
yeah.
So was there a moment, I call it the wow moment, where you say this changed everything?
Yeah, of course. So I started with the first GPT that comes to the public. It was a GPT-3. Of course, before that, I tried to create some bots using the bot framework, using Power Virtual Agents, the old Copilot Studio, let's say. Uh, but of course, it was difficult to have something that really works well because you need to guide the conversation flow too much, putting a lot of guardrails. And of course, if the user was out of these guardrails, the customer was lost in the conversation. So after that, I started trying GPT 3.5, and I really say, wow, this is a really game changer because you can talk of almost everything with the chatbot. You can also restore the conversation or guide the conversation. You don't lose the customer. So it was really a game changing. Then, of course, after that, um, what we are working now is to convert that into value for the companies, and that is not being easy. We can talk about this in further in the episode, but one thing is the all the demos, all the um, perfect pixel demos we are seeing there in the events or in YouTube videos, and then when you try to real do real value for the customer, for the companies, the reality is much more different. It's not so easy to do it. So yeah, now I am in that part, fighting to put the feet in the floor because people are flying in the clouds with AI, and then the reality is that you need much more effort that what is looking in the videos, in the demos that you see out there in the internet.
Mm, yeah. David, you are well known for multi-agent AI systems. For listeners who are not familiar with the concept, what exactly is a multi-agent system?
Yeah. So multi agents are I put sometimes comparison for those who come from web development or let's say application development. We had in the beginning we had the monolith application where we developed everything inside one project. So if we have let's put the sample of e-commerce. We have the shopping cart, we have the orders, we have the products catalog. So we used to create one project with several connections to the database to get the product catalog, to filter out, to add products to the shopping cart, to create the orders, to cancel the orders. All that comes in a monolith project. We publish that to the IAS server, and then we are out. What happens then if we want to test one specific part of the project? We have troubles because we need to test everything in a global test. So after that, we learn to split in what we call microservices. So then we have the shopping cart microservice, the order management microservice, the product catalog microservice, and all that was orchestrated with a website or Kubernetes or whatever technology we use. So if we translate that concept to agents, we started back in 2023, 2024, creating a big agent with a big system prompt, with a bunch of tools or functions or plugins or whatever name you want to put in front. And then, okay, the now the agent can make calculations or do math operations, or it can query my API. Wow, that was incredible. But then when we added 3, 4, 5 APIs, what happens is the agent uh, get confused with which tool should I call, or now, or if we introduce the concept of dynamic chaining, we need to call 2 or 3 tools in a row for creating a response for the user query, then the agent will mess up with that. So we learn also to split that bunch of tools, skills, or actions that the agent can do in specific agents. So let's compare the agent to the microservice. So every agent has a specific let's say functionality, a specific tools to be able to respond or take some actions. And then we create small agents that then can be called from an orchestrator agent to create the different actions, the different responses that the user needs. So if we come again for with the shopping, the e-commerce example, we can have a orchestrator e-commerce agent, and then we can have an agent specialist in orders management that can create an order, can cancel an order, that can get an order, Another agent can be able to work with a shopping cart, can add products, remove products to the shopping cart,
Mhm.
etc. Then another agent in terms of product catalog, of getting a product list or product details. So all that, what comes up is that you get specific agent that you can unit test them, you can um, optimize for the tasks that they are intended for, and then you can work from a parent agent or an orchestrator agent and have a multi-agent system, which is much more powerful and much more strong than creating one single agent for a lot of actions and tools. So that's the idea.
Mhm. And how do these agents collaborate with one another?
Yeah, so it's about sending messages. You can so from the orchestrator, let's say is the agent that manage all the user input. Then the orchestrator will have let's say in the system instruction or system prompt, depend on the engine you are using, is called instruction or prompt. You have a description of which sub agents or child agents or connected agent you have, and what is the specialization or what is the functions that each of the agents can do. So when the user sends a query as a question to the chatbot, then this orchestrator will decide which of the agent, it can be one or it can be more than one, needs to be called to create a response for the user query, and then it will hand off the prompt or the query to those agents that will um, perform some actions, call external tools, whatever it needs to do, and then it will or generate a response back to the orchestrator, or just perform some actions on external system, on databases, or whatever user asked for. Then of course there is a bunch of ways that the flow can take. So if it is we can let the sub agents to respond and generate multiple response to the user, or we can um, instruct the orchestrator to gather all responses and create a unified response. So that's about different behaviors we can manage in the different situations that our project can have requirement for.
Mm. So we have this orchestration. So then we have one conductor and a lot of instruments, I think.
Yes.
Uh, how does it learn or yeah, how does the conductor train his employees, his agents?
Yeah. So uh, so I, so the idea is that you can even you can have these sub agents
Mhm.
collaborating with different orchestrators for different purposes. So let's say you have the shopping cart, or let's say you have the product catalog agent, and you can use uh, coming back to the e-commerce example, you can use it for external users that are going to purchase products in your store, but you can also use that product catalog agent for your internal employees that will use it for adding new products to the catalog or improving description. So that creates like reusable agents that you can take advantage of
Mhm.
in your different projects.
And and have we, I don't know, did we, is this complete autonomous or did we also the human in the loop for this kind of
Yeah.
system?
So that's a good question. I think that the human needs to be there, and so there is some actions that you can, of course, leverage the AI to do it because they are not code actions or they are not, let's say, important actions for your company. But of course, we all know that AI is not deterministic. So, in the case that we need to perform a critical action, I always recommend that there is an approval process where a human can approve and can acknowledge that this action is correct.
Mhm,
Then, about the trigger, all these orchestrator and child agents and connected agents can be triggered by a human action or can be triggered by a system event.
mhm,
So we can have an event-based system that, okay, when a product is inserted into the catalog, there is an event that triggers an agent, and this agent will send a notification
mhm,
for a customer that was waiting for that product to be added or for that stack to be replaced. Um, so the agents can be triggered in an autonomous way. It's not needed to have a chatbot window where a user type a query and they get a response. That can be triggered autonomously. But going to the human in the loop, I always recommend, and we always apply to our customers' projects, that the critical operations must be approved by a human. Of course, we can make this approval process smoothly. For instance, if we go to the Microsoft ecosystem, we have the approval connector in Power Platform, Power Automate, that we can send an email or a Teams notification to a user with all the information just at a glance. So the user can just hit approve or deny. It can put a comment, and then this will trigger further agents or further process in the pipeline downstream to complete the process. But of course, it's a recommendation for now that all the critical process should be approved by a human. Yeah.
uh, especially in the Microsoft ecosystem, which yeah, tools we have to build a multi-agent system.
Yeah. So yeah, there is a lot of them, and now currently after Microsoft build, we have even more. So let's start by naming a few. I'm mostly focused on Copilot Studio and Foundry. So there we have different approaches. We have Copilot Studio agents in which we can create this. Coming back to the example, this e-commerce orchestrator with multiple connected agents um, that can be orchestrated by a Copilot Studio agent. Then we can do the same in Foundry. Okay, so the difference of doing it in Copilot Studio, doing it in Foundry, it's all about licensing, all about performance. So if we have Copilot Studio license in our tenant, Copilot Studio credits, and then we don't have too much, like let's say, too much performance needed. Okay, we don't have too much requests or too much users using the platform. I will go for Copilot Studio. You can accelerate the development because you have, let's say, more than 1,500 connectors. You can use skills now with the new orchestrator. You can use all the Power Platform ecosystem. You can have published the agent with a few clicks to WhatsApp, to Telegram, to Facebook Messenger, Teams, Microsoft 365 Copilot, websites using direct line channel. It's very easy to create value quickly, then you can go. If you have more performance needs, or let's say you need to control the orchestrator phase, you need maybe to create some, I don't know, group chat patterns or handoff. Handoff can be easily done in Copilot Studio, but let's say more complex patterns like Agentic, for instance, then you must go to Foundry. Also, there you have logic apps with a bunch of connectors too. You can also control all the orchestration fast phase using Python code or .NET code or JavaScript, so you can have more flexibility in what the workflow is going to be. And then for orchestrate using low code, in Copilot Studio and in Foundry, we have a new workflow interface, which where you have a canvas and you can connect different agents and put conditional branches or creating loops between agents, so you can like guide uh, more deterministic process, yet using AI for the critical parts, for, I don't know, maybe summarizing content or document metadata extraction or generating some type of text or whatever action, but you can control all the flow in a deterministic way using the workflows. So this is going, this is in preview now, but we are going to have it soon in GA and
Wow.
available for our real projects.
Mm. And how do connect those actions and uh, workflows play together in Copilot Studio?
Yeah. So in Copilot Studio, we currently now in production in GA, in general availability, we have what is called agent flows. It's similar to Power Automate. With agent flows, we can trigger the process using a system event. For instance, when a row is created, when a row is modified, when some type of email is received, whatever trigger we can use in Power Automate. And then we can have a deterministic step-by-step flow. And we can call agents and AI prompts and let's say different components to create a more deterministic flow, and yet using AI in those points where we need it. So we used to work like that for our real customer project, because in the end, the automations we are creating in our customer companies is they need to be deterministic, but AI can uh, determinate them in specific points.
Mm.
But if you leverage all the orchestration to AI, then you convert a deterministic need in a undeterministic process,
Mm.
and then you you are not sure that 100% of the cases of the runs of that automation will go in a success response or results. So that's why we are using these agent flows. Now, if you go on a preview environment, that agent flows are called workflows. It has a new revamped canvas, and then you have, as a maker, you have more flexibility to create agents. um, there's more simple and more quick way to create agents that what we have currently with agent flows. So yet we are testing, we are reporting feedback to Microsoft, and all together will build a much more powerful platform for AI workflows,
Mm.
I hope.
Yeah, that sounds good. And but how companies, I don't know, they have an idea, I think, how they start to develop a chatbot or an in Copilot Studio.
Yeah. So we currently have a, let's say, an AI advisor program where we go and we meet the customer, and we first try to understand how they work,
Mm.
what are their, let's say, workflows, internal workflows, process they have in the company, and we have a team specialized of in, let's say, um, optimize or create efficiency in those workflows.
Mhm.
So we try to find the critical points where we can introduce automation. I need to say that create an automation is not mandatory to introduce AI in it. This is one of the most common errors I'm seeing out there, because you receive customer requests. Okay, I want to put AI in my process. Okay, tell me, what is your process about? Okay, and then you see that, okay, this is, you need to do this step, this step, this step, this step, and that's all. You don't need AI here. Even if you put AI, you will create more errors or possible errors, because not always same input have same output. So we advise the customer to uh, do the automations, and we put AI in the specific point where it creates more value and not more problems. And so we have this first phase of advisory, of discovery, and then from that we create what we call proposals. And in those proposals, it can be one, it can be 10, can be 20, whatever number they need. Then we create some documents that we are using some skills also to create those documents, and to let's say make more efficiency in our internal flows also. And then we go the customer again and say, okay, we propose this 10 use cases. I think that uh, these three ones will take out, I don't know, maybe 40% of your um, mechanical work out. And then we try to start with those that creates more value for the customer.
Mm. Awesome. I think we are both living in the EU, so we have this EU AI Act.
Yeah.
How can we make these Copilot Studio agents, yeah, to be compliant? Is there any?
Yeah. Yeah, this is a tough question, even more in Europe. So, yeah, of course, we are inside Microsoft ecosystem, so we have guarantees that we pay the license, we pay the Azure subscription cost, and our data is compliant. For instance, I can tell you in Spain, they uh, they um, they passed all the law requirements in data compliance, in data security with the Spanish government. And of course, in the rest of Europe, I think it's the same. Um, Apart from that, you are guaranteed that you create an instance of, let's say, GPT model in Azure, and this instance will be used only by you. Your data, your prompts that you send to the instance won't be used to train uh, the models back. This is Microsoft conditions, so we can sell that to the customer. Then there is a new player, which is Anthropic, and of course we know all the power of the cloud models. We like all the cloud models, but we also know that cloud models for the moment, and I expect this to be changed, are running in US data centers. We also know that all the communication is encrypted. Only the inference is done in US. But of course, depending on the customer, this can be a problem. So for those customers, what we do is, okay, we explain the situation. We are crystal clear with them, and then we just swap to GPT models. Now there is a new player, Mistral,
Mm-hmm.
that is coming into the Microsoft tenants. You can enable, and those models are running in Europe. So we have now two processors for choose: OpenAI, Mistral in Europe, and Cloud. We know that for the moment is in US. But yeah, that's all about. We know we work with Microsoft technologies, and we know that we are compliant. We need to pay the price of Azure subscription of licensing, but that guarantees all that our data is secure and won't be used for training again back the models. Like you are if you're using Anthropic or OpenAI, this can happens, of course.
Yeah. Um, we have one side we have this Copilot Studio, and on the other side we have Microsoft Foundry. What are the difference between both, and when I choose Copilot or when I choose Microsoft
Yeah.
Foundry?
Yeah. So the difference are closing the gap. So Microsoft is closing the gap. I remember when first Copilot Studio was launched, and there is even no Foundry. They was called Azure OpenAI. That of course there were big difference. Copilot Studio was more low code approach. And then if you need more flexibility, you need to go Foundry, or let's say Azure OpenAI back in the days. Now they are closing the gap. Let's say you can go Foundry with a low code approach, because you even if you don't need so much flexibility in the orchestration part, you can go Foundry, you can create multi-agent system using a low code approach in Foundry. So if we go low code, we need to think about what our customer or our company, if we are developing a custom product for our company, um, which type of licensing or which type of where is the data located? Are we using Power Platform? We have all data in Dataverse. We have Power Platform license, Copilot Studio credits. Then, of course, we go Copilot Studio. Are we using Azure? We have external information that we need to connect to. We don't have any Power Platform. We don't use Dataverse. Of course, then we can go Foundry. Apart from that, this is low code approach. If we go pro code approach, then we have the agent framework,
Mhm,
and agent framework will work much better with Foundry. So,
mhm,
of course, we if we need to create much more custom orchestration, much more custom agents, maybe make different calls, specific workflows. Then we go pro code approach, and then we use Foundry models, of course. So that will be my top decision. Then, of course, specific parts or specific requirements of the customer can make you take one decision or another. If you go Copilot Studio, then you think about also the let's say how many users will be using the product, and then you can also estimate how much credits you need to buy if you
mhm,
plan to buy a credit package, or if you plan to go pay as you go. You can try to estimate if your um, number of requests or number of users using the platform will be more expensive than going in a Foundry approach. Okay, but yeah, there is they are closing the gap. Yesterday, I was working in a Copilot Studio agent that connects directly to Foundry IQ
okay.
knowledge base using
Mhm,
the MCP connector. So before last week, for doing that, for connecting a Copilot Studio agent to a Foundry IQ knowledge base, you need to go through a Foundry agent. So there you lose flexibility in the response. But now you can connect using a MCP connector directly the Copilot Studio agent to a Foundry IQ. So it's even more close the gap. Now, if you have Foundry IQ, you don't need to go and create a Foundry agent. You can go and create a Copilot Studio agent. So what Microsoft is trying to do is closing the gap and just you choose based on your, let's say, on your current resources, on your current technology that you use in the rest of your project, and not because one platform have different, let's say, functionalities or features that are missing in the another platform. That's how I see it.
Yeah, you have a Microsoft Agent Framework. What is the Microsoft Agent Framework, and how can we explain it to people that are not familiar with this concept?
Yeah. So agent framework comes from two different teams inside Microsoft that were creating in the past was called semantic kernel,
Mhm.
and then those teams joined to create a unified framework because, of course, they the community or the customers were creating projects using two different tools from Microsoft that were intended to be for the same purpose. So they create the agent framework, and this is all about um, creating agents. Is a framework that you can use from different programming languages. I think they currently have SDKs for JavaScript, for C Sharp, and for Python. Maybe there's another that I don't know. Um, then you can create agents using Procode. So you can create all the features that an agent have. You can create, add a system prompt. You can add tools or functions or skills or whatever you have, and then you can create also workflows or orchestration patterns. You can add those agents to the workflows and make them work together for a specific purpose. And
Mhm.
then you can host that agents inside Foundry, for instance, or you can publish to a Azure container app in Azure. And then you have a API or a user interface where you can interact with the agent. So that gives you, I think, is the more flexible way of creating agents. You never hit a wall there because in Copilot Studio and Foundry low code approach, you sometimes hit a wall. I'm in my first project. It happens to me that okay, we have these requirements, but then the customer requests another feature that was not in the primary, let's say, requirement list,
Mhm.
and then we say, oh my god, we cannot do that in Copilot Studio, or we cannot do that in Foundry low code. We need to go pro code. So now, of course, we know better the platform, we know better the limits and the walls, where they are, what they are. So um, we can guide or we can decide better from the beginning. But of course, if you have doubts or you have some plan to go extend your project in a more customized way, then you can go from the beginning to agent framework. You can build exactly the same that you build on Copilot Studio or Foundry low code approach. Of course, it will take a little bit more effort, a little bit more resources, but then you have a strong base for growing up your agents ecosystem without any limit.
Awesome. Yeah, I think there are a lot of possibilities Microsoft have there. But we have also a topic called FinOps,
Yeah.
how we have the control over the cost. Can you a little bit explain this?
Yeah, this is very difficult to control. Um, I can put an example. In Microsoft, so we of course in every project we have that question from the customer. Um, what will be the cost of this when we use it? Okay, and we say it depends. Hey, you tell me you have 100 users, let's say, but how much times they will use the platform, how much queries they have, which type of queries they will launch. Because let's say you have a agent, let's put one agent uh, with 5 tools. Let's say that we have 10 type of queries, and this type of queries will launch one tool, another type of query will launch 3 tools, another type of query will launch 5 tools. So if you make 10 queries that launch 5 tools each query, then you have 50 tools launch. This will cost more than if the same user launch 10 queries that will launch one tool. This is a total of 10 tools, and this will cost less. So it's very difficult to calculate that. Microsoft have launched a Copilot Studio estimator,
Mhm.
but there is a big mm, sign in the top that says, okay, we don't make responsible to what this estimator will tell you, because the cost, of course, depend on the usage. So yeah, we you can make maybe an average. I think that for me, what I recommend to the customer is, okay, I can give you, let's say, an average of we and the UAT phase or testing phase, we can make a bunch of tests, and then we can see the cost, what it is. Um, we can also have pre-built estimations, because we have some tables in the documentation that say, okay, one message that calls the generative orchestrator and then calls 3 tools, it will cost, I don't know, 10 credits or 50 credits. Okay, we can make some estimation, but these are not going to any place, because in the end, the usage, the real usage, is what we measure, what it measure the cost. So in the testing phase, we have ways to get the total consumption credits. We can send that to the customer, and then when we go live, um, we measure the first month, or let's say we agree with a period of measurement with the customer, and then we adapt the resources, or the if we are in Copilot Studio, we can see what number of credits we consume in a month, or if we need to plug as a subscription to go pay as you go, in case the credits pack, which is 25,000, will be will not reach 1 month. And then on the Foundry side, you have a token-based consumption. You can measure, uh, let's say, in the playground of the agent, you can measure how many tokens are taking up your agent, and then of course you can have estimation of, okay, you send this query 100 times, you will consume roughly this number of tokens. Uh, but so there is no silver bullet for this. It's very difficult. We need to educate the customer to not waste tokens. We see this month the GitHub Copilot price increasing, changing from rate to user base, and this is what we have. Until now, we are paying 10% of what AI is costing to the companies that provide it.
Mm.
And now we need to learn to save um, cost, to optimize the usage. We as a builders and we as a users. So I don't know. I put you a silly example. We used to when we developed a front end project, we have this npm run command for starting the bug or for compiling the assets of a project. It's a one line command that we put in the terminal. Or in all our life, we have put that line in the terminal. But now people is asking the agent to run that. And this is, I don't know, 200 tokens or 1000 tokens that is running away. Why we don't put ourselves the command in the terminal like we have been done the past 10 years? So it's like we are getting more lazy with AI, but I think this will change now because our pocket will will be requesting us to save tokens and yeah, and in the end save the planet.
Mm. And have we yeah, I think especially when we think about multi-agent, there are new risk, especially I think governance or compliance or cybersecurity we have to look about.
Yeah, this is very current topic. We are yesterday I was working with a colleague in connecting with Agent 365. We can have what Microsoft call a control plane, which is okay. We can have agents in Copilot Studio. We can have Microsoft Agent Framework agents deployed in Azure Container Apps. We can have Foundry agents, but I go further. We can have Amazon Bedrock agents, and we can connect all this telemetry together in Agents 365 control plane. And we can have there, we can block the agents, we can have all the tools that they are using, um, how much traffic they have. We can have all the telemetry in one place. So this will be Microsoft is working. Yesterday we were testing this this feature that my colleague will be showing that in the European Power Platform conference in the end of the month. And yeah, it's very powerful. It's not yet fully working. Let's say some agents are not reporting all the telemetry, but we are all working together in reporting and improving the tool. So this will be the centralized Microsoft Admin Center tool for govern all the agents that we have in the big Microsoft ecosystem. And and yeah, there is it's a good topic. And of course, if is one of the things that we need to care about, even even more if we have different teams in the company that can build agents by themselves. We have learned from the Power Platform, Power Apps, Power Automate some years ago. What we had the Center of Excellence that help us to govern all the apps and all the flows that were created inside our tenant, inside our environments. Now with all that lesson that we have learned, we create or Microsoft create this Agent 365 control plane that is helping right now to govern the agents and is improving by week, every week with new features, with new telemetries, and yeah, I think it's very powerful. This is the way for
Mm.
control and govern the agents.
Awesome. Then, yeah, let's jump into the quick fire round. I ask
Yeah.
questions and you give a short answer or what comes first in your mind. Copilot Studio or Azure Foundry?
Copilot Studio.
Azure AI or OpenAI?
Azure AI.
Most underrated Microsoft technology.
Sorry, can you repeat?
Most underrated Microsoft technology.
Underrated. Power Pages.
When you have the chance, Microsoft should release tomorrow a feature or a tool. What should it be?
Um, let's say um, let's say web, some web technology that help to include AI in the websites.
Yeah, awesome. When someone comes to you to the Canarian island, what is the favorite meal they should take?
Oh, mojo and potatoes.
Good. I love potatoes. Yeah, have you one favorite productivity tip?
Proactivity.
Yeah, yeah.
Productivity. Yeah. Yeah. So I think that using AI, or let's say, I put a concrete example, Copilot co-work for organizing your day, your daily task, and creating skills that helps you to automate mechanical tasks.
Mm. When you meet your 20 years younger yourself, what advice will you give him?
Yeah. So currently now it's learn to use AI for your task or your daily work, whatever it be. You need to get more efficiency for improvement over the years.
Mm. And is there any learning source, book, or conference you say that that's where every intellectual visit, read, or yeah?
Yeah. So I will recommend to learn. Um, so I think now the books are a bit uh, outdated in the sense that technology is evolving too fast. So I usually go and find some good YouTube channels that will be creating content in uh, weekly or monthly base. So for me, Copilot Studio, there is a good channel that is from Dwayne Robinson,
Hmm.
Microsoft guy. But of course, depending on your skills, on your needs, you can find. But let's say a good YouTube channel with that create content for your area, and that is this content is updating frequently.
Okay, then my closing question is if listeners remember one thing from this conversation today about AI agents and intelligent automation, what should it be?
Yeah. So for me, one closing phrase that I will take is, let's imagine you are in a beach and you have a surfing board in your hand and you watch the sea and it's a big wave coming to you. This big wave is AI. And then you have two options. You stay and the wave will go over you, or you take the surfing board and surf the wave. So I recommend you do the second, surf the wave, take AI on your hand, and try to be more efficient in your daily work, in your life.
Yeah. So yeah, then I say thank you, David. This was yeah, really great conversation, especially about Copilot Studio, Microsoft Foundry, the Microsoft Agent Framework, and yeah, multi-agent AI systems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this discussion, and I say yeah, thank you so much for joining me, and
Yeah.
have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you.